See how deep the bullet lies. On a world tearing you asunder.
Fear not, for you are found. You are home and there is no going back. No one leaves this place. But what is this place? The answer is The Big Show. A live stream for gamers. Minus the boring parts. The show lives on the edge of the known and unknown. It is a direct democracy, and Players Club members decide what happens next. The Players Club is the place for all things searching to be part of something greater. Like you. And here on the show you are significant. You are valuable. Here, you are loved. And no one loves you more than the TuxedoBandido. He is the original. The first player one. The creator of the show and father of the Players Club. Where once you were lost. Now you are part of some.
What's going on, Banditos? And we're live. I tried to cut this a little bit short here because starting a little bit late. So didn't want to eat too much into our stream time because I tried to keep these under about an hour and a half or so. But anyways, welcome to the big show, Webisode number 2. So this is our second one. And so we got a lot of good stuff here coming down the pipeline. One of the things we're going to get started with actually is just a little bit of gameplay. So one of the targets that I didn't take down was the, let's take a look. What is his name? Is it Micro? Let's see, let me look at my map. No, get out of there. Manhunt is Micro. So yeah, so the gameplay is me taking down Micro. I kind of did this in a weird order. So I did Trig, Chirpy, and then Micro. And just to give you a quick look at the build, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because this is a build video that I just put out this last week. So there's a full build video on the channel that you could check out for this. But yeah, this is the Picaro's Nemesis build. And this is what I'm basically using to clear the manhunts because it just kind of makes it super easy. And so it's using 3-piece aces with the Picaros, the Raldi, Walker, all headshot damage and weapon handling. And then I'm rolling with the Nemesis and the White Death. So and of course Sharpshooter, but tons of fun. And so that's what we're going to be seeing here with the gameplay going on in the background is a little bit of that. Yeah, and then next week we got I guess the final manhunt, right? I think it starts in a week from today. And then we're going to be able to get the doctor's home after that. So Lucky is the last target. So in 1 week and 2 days we get to take down Lucky, and so pretty excited about that. Anyways, today got a good show for you today. So we're gonna do a build video. We're gonna start off with that, and then the build video. The build that I'm gonna showcase today is one that actually came out of the Pimp My build from last week. So it's the final build that I developed from that, which was Smurf Piss Blue or Piss Smurf Blue. if I get his name a little mixed up there from time to time. So anyways, that's the first build video. And then we're also going to do another Pimp My build today. And today's build that we're going to review is from Black Widow. And so it's Black Widow's build. And his is a tank headshot pistol build with tons of armor, 1.7 to 1.8 million armor, depending on how you want to roll. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. And then we also have a new miniseries. So the Netflix miniseries, episode number 9. We're gonna preview that today as well. So lots to do. Let's see here. Let me flip over to this actually. Let's go ahead and jump right into the build. And let me turn down the music for this real quick. And then let's go ahead and pause the gameplay. And then let's jump into the build video. Here we go.
So you want to be a player? You gotta hit us up to get a pimped out ride.
You've got to pimp my ride.
damn right.
A bandito by the name Smurf Piss Blue asked me to pimp his build, and I took the challenge. I chose this build because it was already great, but could also go in so many directions. In the end, we created a hurricane of a build that leaves nothing but destruction in its wake.
Are you ready for some world-class vocalization? Yo, Brennan, break him off a little something, something.
Sing along if you know it.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I'll do you in the bottom while you're drinking sangria.
Nachos, lemon heads, my dad's butt. Put on your life vest, let's drop anchor. There's a nice lady, oh, I like to swank her.
This is Smurf Piss Blue's build. It has up to 56% crit chance, 140% crit damage, 6 skill tiers, and 4 red cores, one of which is from the Picaro's holster. He's using Technician for the extra skill tier with 2 ballistic skills. He's got 3 pieces of Empress for skill health, damage, and 10% skill efficiency. The chest talent is Glass Cannon, and I think that's the best move. All these pieces have crits. The backpack is the memento for the 3 cores and both 30% weapon damage and skill efficiency, which is big time. It's also giving us 3% regen. His primary weapon is the capacitor for a great boost to crits and 60% skill damage. Lastly, he has 2 pieces of Brazos with crits, one of which is the Picaro's holster for the extra 15% weapon damage. Smurf's build is heavily invested into the weapon damage. It has an equivalent of 4 red cores. The memento kicks in 30% weapon damage. We have 6 skill tiers, and the capacitor will pick up 7.5% weapon damage from each. That said, the core components to this build are the Brazos, crits, and the capacitor. If the memento is giving you a base 30% skill efficiency that stacks on another 30, 60, 90, 120% skill efficiency for 10 seconds, how important is that 10% from Empress? Maybe not enough to consume all 3 pieces. So we're gonna make the build strong enough to get multiple kills inside 10 seconds with the ability to snag the trophies when we need to, even in Legendary. The skills are strong, but with this kind of setup, they're no match for the time to kill the capacitor has. We're gonna lean into that. After I picked out the build, I took it out for a final solo Legendary spin. I have more gameplay to share after I walk you through the build pieces, but this is a quick time to kill demonstration on the final product. In this spot, you only have a few meters between you and the door to get multiple kills. If you don't, you get overrun, and even pure DPS builds fail here. I use the skills to distract, but fast time to kill is still required to succeed, and this build clears this section with relative ease, leaving piles of bodies along the path. This is a stress test, and that's top-notch kill time. Since a full memento stack or a single fresh trophy brings us so much skill efficiency, we're going to free up 3 gear slots by removing the 3 pieces of Empress. For the chest, we're going to run Cheska instead. For 10% crit chance, I have a skill tier, but you can put on a red core too. We have max crits, and we will also use Glass Cannon to power both our skills and weapon. We have regen, and the skills keep you from taking on too much damage, so Glass Cannon is worth it. For the mask, instead of Empress, we're using a 3rd piece of Brazos with max crits and a skill tier. This is amazing because it just might be one of the few justified 3-piece Brazo builds out there. In case you didn't know, the capacitor exotic AR is unusually strong. For one, it gives us 10% crit chance and 30% crit damage. It also has the highest damage to armor of any assault rifle, and the health damage for robotics and chungas and non-elites. Of course, the talent gives you 45% weapon damage and 60% skill damage, but the one weakness is the small mag. The reload time is 1.8 seconds, which is cool, but when you have a key target out of cover, that is the difference between you getting the kill or not. Or when you have a chunga pressing you, that reload can get you killed. 3-piece Brazos gives us 20% more in the mag, pushing this to 49 rounds. I didn't have Fenris, but I tested against Grupo because you can also go for more damage inside a smaller mag. A larger mag proved out to be more useful. We already know this, which is why we elect for the bigger mag mod on most of our AR builds. And it was moments like these during testing that allowed me to truly evaluate evaluate the effectiveness of this setup. At 1.8 seconds, a reload can get you killed, and that is also enough time for a target to escape or get out of reach.
I want to go fast.
That sounds like you? Then this is your build. I made it in the lab, live on Twitch in unedited gameplay, where I make all my builds. Follow me over there for more Division 2 fun. Shout out to all the members of Tux's Players Club. I'm really honored to have your support and can't imagine a better way to say thank you than providing you with more of what you love. This playlist on my YouTube homepage hosts your bonus content, extra builds, gamer music playlists, and more. Not a member yet? It's time you join a strong, positive community. Links here and in the area below. The gloves are variable depending on your playstyle. For me, I like to push forward a lot to clear content quickly, even in Legendary, even when I'm playing solo. I ran this with Bellstone, Grupo, and the Death Grips. All worked great, but in the end I decided on this Bellstone. The reason being, the build's time to heal was slowing me down. If you have a fast time to kill, having a fast time to heal helps you maximize your build's potential. Bellstone is only adding 1% armor regen to the 3% armor regen from the Memento backpack, but it seems to be enough to keep us moving forward in the fight. Quick regen demonstration here. That's what we're showing. In the end, we have 6 skill tiers, 4 red cores counting the Picaro holster, max chance and 158% crit damage, 4% armor regen. This is before the damage buffs for the skills. We have 30% stacking skill efficiency, 60% more damage from the capacitor, and then 25% amp damage from glass cannon. That's a ton. Hey Bandidos, if you're a club member and want me to pimp your build, all you have to do is drop your build in the Pimp My Build channel on Discord. The true measure of a build is the player. Without both skill and playstyle, the strongest build in the game will fail. In fact, I don't know any build in the Division 2 that makes a player good. Skill and playstyle will outperform the difference between any two builds within a reasonable range. In the absence of one or both, and what I mean is skill or playstyle, the build will suck. Whatever the build, mine, someone else's, meta or not, it must align with your aspiring skill or play style, and it must do what it was designed to do. From there, it's all on you. Modify the build to you. I can assure you I think through every piece on the build before I offer it out. I have build labs to share the process I go through to create these monsters. So once you achieve an effective time to kill, look for other ways to enhance your performance. That can be regen, handling, skills, or more power. Now, I test on the same content in an attempt to create a controlled testing environment, which is actually impossible in this game. Solo Legendary at District Union Arena is my go-to for testing. But remember, 80% of why the build is working is the user. I push to show you the build doesn't buckle under pressure, or to show you where it does. It's in these split-second moments that all my evaluation of a build is really happening. It's where I learn the build's true strengths and weaknesses, regardless of user skill level. Banditos, I created this unlimited explosive skill build that gets you out of cover, which is really unique, and I use Brazos to do it. Check it out. All right, Banditos, so yeah, that was today's build video. Hope you enjoyed it, and shout out to Mr. Smurfy, who pisses a lot of blue, for sharing his build with us and allowing us to play around with it, I guess. You know, it was a ton of fun. It really is one of those builds that you can take in like 50 different directions. Like I said, one of the versions I ran instead of the Bellstone glove was with a Gruppo. And you could also run like a Fenris glove, but I just didn't have the Fenris. But Fenris would be nice because it would level out your non-crits, and so you could have a higher base weapon damage. But with Gruppo, I mean, I was just cutting things down. And so I decided, like you heard, like I mentioned in the video, in the end, I ended up just going with Bellstone, just because the only thing that was holding me back was my heals. Just because, you know, when you get below basically like what, on average, like 20% of your armor or less, when you get down to like the bottom of your armor, then you play less aggressive. You hold back, and I had to sit there and kind of wait for my armor to catch up with me, or you know, use an armor kit or whatever. And so Bellstone wasn't adding 1% armor regen. Wasn't like, it's not like a godly amount of regen, but it managed. It seemed to like keep up just enough to keep me over that kind of minimum armor threshold that puts people back into cover or playing a little bit more hesitantly, you know. So that Bellstone allowed me to basically just go a little bit faster, push a little bit more, because sometimes you just don't have time to use an armor kit. You know, it's kind of a slow process to use the armor kits, and that, you know, when you're trying to kill an enemy or that's running from A to B, you know, that 1.5 seconds is the time it takes for him to get out of range or hide or shoot you down, right, or whatever. So anyways, really cool build. And so I had a lot of fun with it. And then, you know, the 3-piece Brazos, you know, it's a really hard thing to justify, you know, to give yourself that 20% larger mag. You know, from my perspective, I think it only makes sense on some sort of hybrid or all-in skill build. And so and I've thought about it for weapons like that really need it, like the Lady Death, like really needs it, right? But it's just like to lose 2 slots to skill haste and the skill tier on what might otherwise be a DPS build, you know, is just like, wow, that's not really worth it, you know. So I lose 2 slots that could be, I don't know, crit damage and SMG damage or something like that, or whatever, and you lose that just for a larger mag. It's just like, well, geez, you know, I don't know if that's if that's worth it. And it's hard to chew off. But for hybrids, it is. And I think it's almost like the 3-piece Brazos is made specifically for the capacitor, because that's the capacitor's only weakness. I've always thought that. I've always believed that. I was like, God, I love the capacitor, but it's got a smaller bag. And the only time that I would choose the test subject over it was if for some reason I just kind of got tired of that small mag. But the capacitor is so much more stronger than the test subject. So you know, that 60% skill damage that it gives your ballistics or whatever you're running. So anyways, it's really nice to be able to have an excuse to use the 3-piece Brazos. And you know, that's what I like to do when I'm creating builds within a season. I like to use all the new pieces that they gave us. I try to create builds for myself and for you guys that are utilizing the new stuff, so that you have options, you know. And you know, you might not run it the same way I did, but you know, maybe it'll inspire a different build for you. No, Biko, I'm running just 1 Bellstone. So all I did, and it was a Bellstone with a red core, as a matter of fact. So you could add more armor. You could definitely add more armor. And of course, this will get published as a full-on build video. So you know, you could watch this on the replay. It'll only be an 1.5 hour long stream, but and then I'll cut that out, and it'll be its own build video as well. So look forward to that, which will probably launch on Monday morning, first thing. But yeah, and so you can put on more armor too. But I really liked the damage on that thing, and so I was just like, well, it's sort of you know, I'm playing like cover to cover, pushing cover to cover. I was able to get all the trophies that I needed when I needed them. But that whole first checkpoint I cleared in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And that's really, really fast, even for me. And I've cleared it faster, but on some of those other builds, in order to clear it faster in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, I had to really hustle. I had to like really hustle and really push it. But that one, man, I cleared it maybe like, I don't know, 15 times during testing or something like that. Can't remember exactly, just estimating, but I had multiple clears under 3 minutes of that first checkpoint. It's amazingly fast. Amazingly fast. And a lot of it is, if you pay attention, it really is because of the bigger mag. It really is, because I was one magging the chungas. They were going down in a single mag, focus firing with my skills. So with my skills on my gun, all focus firing, a single mag, the chungas were going down. And same with all the tanks, yellow, purple, red, it didn't matter. A single mag was taking down a gold tank. And so that extra 9 rounds that Brazos gave us is really powerful on the capacitor. And I think that's unique to the capacitor. I think the capacitor is a very strong weapon in combination with Technician. You know, if you look at think about Technician gives you 12% damage to robotics, plus it gives you the extra 10% skill damage that you select down in your skill tree. Plus it gives you the skill tier, right? Which is 7.5% weapon damage, if you think about it that way. So you get the 12% plus 7.5%, that's 19.5%. Right? And then you get the 10 and then all of the other stuff to your skills. But just to your weapon alone on robotics, 19.5%. Also to the chungas. To the chungas too. That's right. Wait, am I getting that right? On their weak points? Isn't it right? Or am I just thinking of proxies? I might just be thinking of proxies. Yeah. So it's got to be like a tank or like a turret. But it's got it's technically a little bit weaker on chungas, the capacitor, right? Because it's got the highest damage to armor on any assault rifle, and chungas are technically health targets, right? So, but and they've basically cut the health in half. It's 9.5, but you make up for that because it gives you 30% crit damage. So, you know, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. Yeah, really good gun, the capacitor, right? And I have my reasons to use the Busy Bee a test subject on certain builds, but on this build, hands down, it's about the capacitor. And as I mentioned, you know, that's one of the core pieces that I kind of isolated, that the capacitor's got to stay, because Smurf focused so much on crits and the weapon damage, it had to have been the capacitor that instead of the test subject or mechanical animal. And that's because he critted out the build, and the capacitor gives you 10% crit chance and 30% crit damage. You just can't ignore that, you know. Anyways, let's get into the next Pimp My Build series build. And so this is a new build, and this one is from who's it? Black Widow? I think, yeah, it is Black Widow. Hold on, let me pause the gameplay real quick so we don't get any of that noise. And then let's start the party. Should we start the party? Yeah, let me see if I can do this right. Sorry, I got a lot of things going on here. Oh, no. Hold on. Got a lot of things moving parts. Okay, here we go.
So you want to be a player? You got to hit us up to get a pimped out ride.
You've got to pimp my ride.
Damn right.
Okay, so here is Black Widow's build. And so, sorry, I'm going to be fumbling on some of the technicals as I'm on the stream. So I got a lot of moving parts, and I haven't found ways to streamline it yet because we're still kind of new with this big show. Anyways, that aside, so this is Black Widow's build. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And so basically it's centered around high armor and the Regulus. Now, it doesn't have to be the Regulus. You can get this to work with the D50 as well, or the 1886. So, but you'll have to tweak it just a little bit to get those to work. But for his version, it's going to be around the Regulus. And so, as you can see, his original build runs 1.7 million, and I did a build lab. I was playing with this, so I've already started working on this build, and I'm going to show you here on my actual character in just a second. But let me just walk you through it. So he's got the D&H chest, okay? He's got 2 pieces of Bellstone. So one piece gives you the 1% armor regen, and the second piece is giving us 10% armor on kill. So that's his holster and his mask. Now he's got the 511 gloves, which is another 10% armor on kill, and he's got more regen there. All the mods are protection from elites. So he's got 36% protection from elites, give or take. So the idea here is to be tanking. So basically what he's done, his idea, what Black Widow's idea was to create something that's close to the Mexican. You guys remember the Mexican build I created? So it's the Regulus with a tip of spear build that had, I think it had 1.8 million armor, maybe 1.7, but between 1.7 and 1.8 million armor tip of spear build. So he wanted to create something like that and add even more survivability to it. So that's his concept here. So super tanky. And then he's got the Murakamis for another 1% armor regen, and then he's got another armor regen attribute there. So all the reds that you see on the build, the secondary attributes are headshot damage. And he doesn't have very many of those, as you can see. And now there's the Memento. Now the Memento is a requirement for this build, okay? Because, and we'll get into that in a second here, but the idea of the Mexican and the idea of this Black Widow build is that when you get 1 kill and you pick up a single trophy at 1.7 million armor, that single trophy is valued at 850,000 in bonus armor. That's huge, really huge. And then he's got the 3 protection from elite mods that make it very, very difficult for the enemy to chew through that bonus armor. And then he's got the 3, the 4, the 5 major armor regen, and then a bunch of minor armor regen attributes there, which probably pushes it to about 6.5% armor regen, give or take. And then he's got the 20% armor on kill, right? That's crazy. That's a crazy build. As you can see, he's running the Bulwark Shield, and then he's running the Deflector. And so the Bulwark Shield that's a 6 skill tier. That's a 6 tier Bulwark Shield. So massively strong shield. That shield will not go down, right? I mean, it can eventually, but it's very hard to go down, especially in heroic. And legendary, they'll probably throw some explosives at you. You know what I mean? But so this build is really interesting. So there's so many ways to go. Okay, let me hide this real quick and then show you, because I have the build here live. So cool. So this is basically his same build. Okay, so I have some red cores here, but now the first thing that I would change, we're just gonna verbally walk through this, but the first thing that I would change is, so he had D&H on his chest. I would definitely elect for the Punch Drunk mask. Okay, so, and that's because it's giving you 20% headshot damage and 20% pistol damage. So a lot of what's kind of assisting the build is he had Headhunter on his chest, so that's what's giving us our one-shot capabilities. And so it's the TAC 50 that is the assist with these builds. And so with the Mexican, we use the tip of spear with a bunch of armor that give us even an even stronger TAC 50, and then also more weapon damage, right? So it's amazing. It's amazing to have this much armor. The idea is to have the high armor. And the reason why, okay, let me just make sure we're all on the same page about armor. So armor on its own in the Division 2 is pretty invaluable. I mean, it's not worth anything. Okay, so armor, and so if you invest if you're running an all red build and you're like, oh, you don't want to put one armor core on it, that as an investment, right? You want to invest in one armor core so you can add some resistance to your build. The enemies are going to take that away from you with a single bullet. Look at one armor core is 170,000 in armor. Do you think the enemy hits more or less than 170,000 per bullet? It's more, right? It's more. It approaches the million, depending on the enemy. No, they hit really hard. Not the red guys are probably hitting at maybe 200 some. I don't know what the red guys hit at, but but it only takes a couple of bullets from an elite to take down all of your armor, right? If you notice that. So if you think about it from that perspective, a single blue core will go away in a bullet or two, depending on who's shooting at you. And so they're gonna take away your investment right when the party starts, right? So in the absence of armor regeneration or armor on kill or bonus armor, armor's not worth very much. But when you have something like armor on kill, armor regen, or bonus armor, then it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And that's what we're doing. So with this build, I mean, he's rolling into all sorts of things and we're going to talk about that. But with this build, it's really about the bonus armor. You know, that's what I realized. So when you pick up a trophy, that's what you want. You want to be able to pick up a trophy and give yourself another shield, right? And then by doing that, you don't need your bulwark as much, and so you can move around a lot faster. So that's the idea. It's about a high bonus armor build is what it is, off of a single trophy. So that's gonna last you for 10 seconds, which is good because the reality is that the enemies are gonna shoot it off of you anyways. So you don't really want it to last 20 seconds or anything like that. I mean, it'd be great if it did, don't get me wrong, but you don't care because it's gonna, they're gonna clear it. It doesn't matter because you're chain killing with 1.7, 1.8 million armor. It's easier with 1.7, I found out. So 1.7 million armor, you're one shot, one killing on heroic. So, and that's a lot of help because of the regulars. It's a very strong pistol, the highest base weapon damage pistol. So, and then headhunter, of course. So and then so you're gonna have trophies in line for you, right? So you pick up a trophy and you'll see. So I'm creating a whole build video for you on this, but we're stacking those trophies, and so our armor goes from 1.7 to 2.6 to 3.4, and it's crazy numbers because we're chain killing. And so it's absolutely amazing. So you're gonna, until you get some mementos, you need to get a couple of mementos on your belt to help with that. So you're gonna start off a little bit slow, because you're a little bit of tank. So it's gonna take a couple of bullets to get your first couple of kills until you get probably about 6 or 7 trophies under your belt. And then from there, it becomes a lot easier to do the chain killing. So anyways, from his version, just to kind of give you another peek again, so he's got the 511s and the Murakamis, but notice he's running the D&H on his chest, and you could do that. But obviously by running the punch drunk, you're gonna pick up an extra 10% headshot damage by doing it this way. But what I would do, you don't need much weapon handling on pistol builds. It is a little bit helpful because at least it's helping with your reload speeds and your weapon swapping. But you know, stability and accuracy, it's not a lot of help. It is a little bit helpful, but not a lot of help. And so he's running protection from elites, which is fine. The protection from elites, the point of it is to make your bonus armor last longer. But I found, like, when I was using it, and it's going to be up to you on how well you can acquire your target and kill them. I'm pretty good with my pistol, and once I get warmed up, so I didn't need it, so I just went ahead and rolled these to headshot damage, and that way I can get more consistent one shot, one kill. And so for me, that's what I was with. Now here's what I found. Again, lots of different ways to do this, but what I found was that the bonus armor was so strong. We had and it stayed up. We kept stacking the bonus armor. I never needed the armor on kill. I never needed the regen. And so, but especially the armor on kill. So for me, I felt like, removing the armor on kill was the right move. And so, but again, it's going to come down to how you play. So if you're out there taking a lot of pain because you have a more difficult time landing your headshots and you're in the open, then yeah, you might want to keep one of these 10% armor on kills. But yeah, but really interesting a way to do it here. So, but I think that because of the bonus armor, like on the version that I ran, like kind of where I was getting to, it's pushing over 100,000, 116,000 in regen, right? 116,000 in regen per second. And so I don't think you need the bonus armor. I mean, the armor on kill, because the regen is so strong, you know? And so even in your chain killing on top of that, right? And so the way I was discussing it with Black Widow was that it's the bonus armor is the armor on kill. You see what I'm saying? The bonus armor is the armor on kill. It's 850,000 armor on kill when we're running 1.7 million armor, which is basically what we have here. So, you know, a single trophy is going to give you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% bonus armor. And then that's for 10 seconds, which is plenty of time to acquire and take down your next target. And so that's all the armor on kill you need. It is temporary armor, but your armor regen is going to be so strong. It's going to be at a minimum 75,000, as much as 120,000, or maybe even a little bit higher, the way he had it. And so, you know, you don't really need the armor on kill because your regen is so strong. It's going to be healing you underneath your bonus armor. And then you have this super crazy shield at the same time. So tons of fun. I know like some of you don't have the Regulus, but man, you really got to get this thing. You know, this gun's a beast. It's a beast. But otherwise, the 1886 was worked really consistently as well. And so a lot of ways you can do this. So you don't have to run the Murakamis. You can run a Fox's Prayer, right? And get some damage to targets out of cover, some more multiplicative damage, but still keep the armor. I think that the goal of the build would be to keep the armor. And then else run headshot damage and armor regen everywhere. And so you can run 2-piece Brazos. I tested this and I really liked the 2-piece Brazos. That gives us 2 total skill tiers. And so when you stick the riot foam really helps with these builds because it sticks the enemy to the floor, so you can point blank with them using your TAC 50, your rifle, your White Death, or your pistol. And it also just cuts out a lot of the bullshit because they're always kind of ducking and diving and dipping and, you know, all that, all the unlimited cartwheels. It's like when the circus get into town, you know, kind of shit. So anyway, so 2-piece Brazos was a lot of fun. You could also put the Bellstone here. You can put the Bellstone. You can run a mix, right? So you can put 1% armor regen, 10% armor on kill, 3% regen on the back. Or you could run an armored up chain killer like that and do that, right? And now you got 15% weapon damage here, 5% weapon damage from Walker and Harris, and then you have your 20% pistol damage. So that's a lot of weapon damage boost right there to your pistol. This was also a very fun way to roll. So lots of different ways. You could also justify, you know, depending on how you played, not running Bellstone at all, and then put on a second piece of Brazos in combination with the Foxes. So Brazos is like a shield, because 2-piece of Brazos is like having I should say it this way: the riot foam is like a shield, right? It's a crowd control, it's a defense, right? It's a defense that helps your offense a lot. So, you know, but with this defense, you have a better offense. You know, with the riot foam, right? It makes you acquire easily less reloads because you're missing less, more kills, more chain killing. And then Technician. Exactly, in Technician. Now, I was kind of torn with Technician because I was using the TAC 50 so much from time to time. And so I'm still kind of on the fence there personally, but it's a great idea. Especially if you run it this way. If you run it this way, then the Technician wouldn't be a bad idea at all, you know? Because that would give you that 3rd skill tier. That would push your ammo to 5. And then you're getting because you're chain killing, you got tons of skill efficiency headed your way, you know? But you got a lot of damage here. So basically you want to clear that as much over 9 million as possible off of your first headshot. And it's going to take a few trophies there. So that's one of the things that it's like, you gotta, this is different. It is a tank build. Okay. It's a tank pistol headshot build, you know? So if you start adding players to this, it's just not going to work that well. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is sort of a solo build concept. I mean, it'll work with like 1 or 2 players max. But you add a 4th player. I mean, you turn into a true tank, and you're gonna have a really hard time killing things. You know. So that just to make sure expectations are realistic out there. This is a solo build. So tons of fun though. You could probably run 4 directives with it, maybe. Everything but skill cooldown. Plenty of ammo out there for your TAC 50. So that's that. But I feel like that's the constant. The constant is probably the D&H mask and the memento, and then from there, and then the talent on the chest, which is Headhunter. You don't have to run perfect Headhunter, but it's nice if you can. But all these 4 pieces are where you're playing with here. And then for the build, you want no less than 1.5 million armor. I found that 1.7 felt just right. 1.8 felt a little too tanky. Where I was still 1-shot, 1 killing at 1.8, but there'd be some enemies that wouldn't die off a single shot. They'd have just like a little bit of life left in them, and I'd be like, oh, that's annoying. And so it slows you down, basically, having that kind of armor. It's the funniest thing, you know? So you're fine with 1.7 million armor, and I would leave it there. But stats-wise, you know, I guess we'd have to look at the pistol. You're gonna be, no, this is with the protection from elites, but it's at 187, but I found at about 215% headshot damage, it felt a little bit better. So that's the difference of the mods there. And then otherwise it's got headshot damage everywhere on every piece except for the memento. So yeah, these 3 mods will give you another 30%, and so that should push you over there. Yep, that would push you to 220 basically, 217. So that's plenty. That's good. Like some of the top-notch 1-shot killers are about 280. So for a tank build at 217, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, I really like the riot foam. You don't have to. You could also do the decoy, but I think the riot foam really helps. Even if you don't run the Brazos, you could also do 2-piece Golem. I'm also experimenting with 2 pieces of Golem. That's status effects and armor regen. You don't need a lot of status effects, so I'm mostly doing it for the regen. And then you could run the Murakamis. We kind of were both saying like, oh, it's kind of sexy with the Murakamis. So you're not getting anything out of the skill duration, but it's all about the armor regen. And then if you run the Bellstone chest, which I have here, boom. Then you got 1%, 2%, 3%, 6% armor regen. And then plus another 2 stats. So it's basically almost 7% armor regen right there. Almost 7. That's because I got these minor attributes of armor regen also here and here. And so I think this is my favorite way to go, actually, of this tanky setup. And what I would do, and what I'm also farming for, is I want to take out that weapon handling right there and put armor regen. And I want to take out that weapon handling right there and put armor regen. And then if I do that, that would give me the option to keep or remove the Murakamis. So by removing the Murakamis, what would I put there? I'd probably put the Golem there, and then I'd pick back up the Picaro holster. The Picaro holster, you're going to use every inch of it, right? You get what I'm throwing down? And that's because it's going to give you weapon damage, headshot damage, and skill haste. And you're going to use the skill haste. It's going to help with the riot foam. What up, AG? Mr. Rob, Larry, Grumpy, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, so this is the really good build from Black Widow. Lots of fun. So this is what I'm going to be working on this week as part of the Pimp My Build series. And like I said in the intro of the other video, we have the Pimp My Build channel on Discord. So definitely make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. I love it, and people are. So this isn't the only build that I'm working on. There's a couple of others, and so we'll probably see those in either build videos or in next week's live stream. But yeah, tons of fun. So let's see here. Take a look at what else I got here real quick. Give me a quick second. I gotta make sure this is set up right.
Are you ready for some world-class vocalization?
I
Yo,
am.
Brennan, break them off a little something, something.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I'll do you in the bottom while you're drinking sangria.
Nachos, lemon heads, my dad's boat. You won't go down cause my dick can float. Put on your life vest, let's jump anchor. There's a nice lady, oh, I like to swank her.
I need daddy's boat. My dad's got a boat too. That's the funny thing. True story. Anyways, so yeah, tons of fun there. But today, just a quick heads up. So after this live stream, after the show, it's gonna roll over into another live stream. So actually end this live stream and start the other one. But you will automatically be redirected into the next one. If you're on YouTube and if you're on Twitch, you just need to hang out. And so for the after party, which is what that live stream is called, the one that redirects, I'm gonna work on a red build series. Actually, I'm gonna create a red build series, probably fold it into a video eventually. But and what I'm talking about here is really, well, it actually came from, I think it was Wayne. Wayne was asking the other night when I was streaming. He was asking me like about some of my red builds, like what red builds would I recommend, basically. And I was thinking like, oh, I don't know, there's this and there's this and that. And so I was thinking about doing a stand-up. You know how we kind of do the comparison, like frame by frame, best time to kill, which build is better, the worst assault rifle build versus the meta. And so I was thinking about doing the same with the most popular red build. So like doing the meta one, which was got like the sacrifice and coyotes and contractors and foxes, you know, that thing. And then a striker version, and then an Umbra one, and then an all red heartbreaker. I mean, I think that covers the bases, doesn't it? And so, and then kind of doing the same thing, like we'll do a time series where I'd run 4 control points with each of those builds, and then time it and see how fast I complete those control points, and then get some video recordings of me killing this same enemy archetype, you know, like that kind of like average grunt, and then do a side-by-side comparison showing which has got the better time to kill. Yeah, I don't know. So I was thinking about doing that because I think it's sort of, I think there is a better of the builds, you know, I really do. And I don't think it's going to be the offense that's going to dictate that, you know. I think it's going to be probably the defense that separates them. Don't you think? I mean, because Umbra's pretty cool. I mean, they all have their own little mechanics, right? Like Heartbreaker, you got to have the pulse, you know, and then and it gives you the bonus armor and, you know, whatever. And then Striker's got the difficult stacking situation, but what's the problem with Striker? There's no defense with it, right? No defense. And so I'm gonna run all of these builds all red, all of them, you know. And so, and then the Contractor's Sacrifice one, the Sacrifice chest one, that one's amazing because there's no stacking, and that's really convenient, right? To not have to stack anything. And then, you know, so Umbra's got his thing where you got to get in and out of cover, but that's just something you kind of got to do anyways with your all red build. Let's just admit it. And then Striker all red suffers from not having any defense. So when you take a bullet, you just have no recovery, right? You have nothing. And that's fine if that's how you want to roll, but that can also be kind of annoying, right? And so I think that's so we're gonna do these side-by-side comparisons, I think, and what I want to do, and I want to show you, like, look at the time to kill between A, B, C, and D, and look at how close they are. They're so close. I don't think you're gonna be able to tell the difference without a frame-by-frame comparison. That's my projection. That's my hypothesis that I'm predicting. But the difference is that this one gives you bonus armor. This one gives you amazing armor regen, and the other ones don't give you anything. And so I think and so I have a feeling that Umbra might be the best build based on what it can do for you defensively, because all of them are going to be strong. All of them are going to cut enemies down. We know that. You know what I mean? I run them all. I run them all in legendary. I run them all in heroic. I know that they all work. I know that they're all great in their own way, but I also know without defense, it's pretty annoying. You know what I mean? I don't know. Without some sort of regen or armor on kill. And so we're going to run them all the same way. So what I mean is, like, the chest and the backpack. So if we run a Heartbreaker with the chest and the backpack, then we have to run the Striker with the chest and the backpack, and the Umbra with the chest and the backpack, right? So just kind of like standard setups. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's what I'm thinking, you know, like, or, you know, do we run the Heartbreaker with the backpack and chest, or do we skip the backpack since we're not doing any regen anyways? You know what I mean? Maybe we make the best version of each, actually. Yeah, maybe that's a bad idea to force them all to wear their chest and backpacks. Maybe that's a bad idea. But anyway, so that's what that's what we're gonna stream live today after this, and that stream starts at 3 o'clock, so it starts in 30 minutes. And so as soon as we get out of here, that's what we'll be doing. Okay, so hey, the next one's a big deal. What we're gonna be working on next. It's going to be we're gonna head into lore here. If you guys are down to do some lore, so Netflix. Miniseries, Netflix style miniseries is a kind of a signature thing that I do. So there's really nothing else out there like it, especially for the Division 2. Black Tux, how are you, man? And so tons of fun. So last week I showed you an episode of where we left off, and so it kind of had been on this hiatus for many reasons on my end, mostly production reasons. And so we left off meeting the Rembrandt. And so the Rembrandt entered the picture in episode 8. And the Rembrandt is basically somebody who's a master of espionage and can infiltrate the enemy factions and work her way up to leadership. And so, but she's a saboteur. And so she at the same time, she got herself into all the factions, which were the Black Tusk, the Hyenas, and the, what am I forgetting? Hyenas, Black Tusk, the True Sons, and then the Cleaners. Sorry, I'm just drawing blanks here. Drawing blanks. So she worked her way up to the top of each of the factions, which were basically the 4 horsemen. So it all centers on the 4 horsemen. So the 4 horsemen are 4 warlords, right? They're faction leaders, and who are fighting for control, as you would expect they would be, over New York and DC territories. A lot of this is focused on DC. And so one of them is Angel Eyes, another one's Nemesis, and so on and so on. But behind them, there's a greater conspiracy. There's somebody who is called, is known by the name The Hand. And The Hand is the puppeteer. And so he's basically, he or she is using the warlords, moving them like chess pieces and also turning them against each other. And so the Rembrandt infiltrated. In the last episode, what happened is the Rembrandt infiltrated the factions, gained intel, but then also hacked into Isaac, and dropped a signal that revealed the location of all key targets. But the message wasn't only delivered to the Division, the pings, the pings were also delivered to the enemy factions. And so the enemy faction leaders all of a sudden found out where each other's were, where their headquarters, where they were hiding, basically, right? And it started an all-out war. And so where they started, basically hunting each other down. War parties started going out into the streets to try to go take out each other's leadership, basically. And so that's where we left off in the last episode. And the Rembrandt dies because of this. So she basically gives her life up to do this. And she was a division agent. The Rembrandt was a division agent who disappeared, basically. She didn't go rogue per se. She just fell off the map. She went dark. And so this is the first time the division sees the Rembrandt. This is the first time she pops back up on the radar in a long time, since basically the second wave. So anyway, so that's where we left off. And so in today's episode is gonna pick up from there. Okay, and again, there's gonna be a full-on video on this, also an actual Netflix style build miniseries episode that will be launched on the channel. So let me cue this up here real quick. We need to pause that. And then for the music, let's dunk-a-dunk that. And then let's see here. Where is my... here we go. So let's collapse that. And then let me hide my face for this.
We've been fighting for a long time. We are outnumbered by fanatics and we are losing. I thought I knew our enemy. Something has changed. An agent who went dark on us just resurfaced. Call sign the Rembrandt. She's mastered in the art of infiltration and has worked her way to the highest levels of all factions controlling DC. She has claimed responsibility for the recent hack on Isaac that sent a signal with the precise location of every priority target known. But that wasn't for us. Reports are coming in that 2 of the 4 Horsemen faction leaders have eliminated each other. It's chaos out there. They're turning on their own in the fight for control. There's more. Intel has located a hidden signal under the primary channel. It allows for direct access and control over Isaac. What I'm telling you, Agent, is that Isaac is compromised. We think the primary hack was a diversion. The Rembrandt's real agenda was to uncover this hidden signal. Someone is using the division for their own agenda. Who and to what means, we don't know. What we do know is that the division can no longer be trusted. Rembrandt knew this. It's why she disappeared into the shadows. Whoever is behind this has the exact location of every shade agent we got, along with a kill switch. And if we stay the course, we are dead. We are all dead. Unless you help us. You have no idea how important you are. Isaac is a machine, and like all machines, it has an off switch. The Washington, D.C. data node was placed inside the Jefferson Trade Center. The building is being occupied by a rogue hyena lieutenant. Expect heavy resistance. Clear the area. Inject the wipe code and reboot the node. If you're listening to this, you are the division. We need you to fight beside us if we stand a chance of winning this war. You're our last hope. A new type of agent will rise from these ashes.
All right, and that was episode 9. And of course, with the full release of the video that will happen this week, also will come the build that the character who we're now referring to as the messenger is using in the video. Does that make sense? What I just said? Did the words that came out of my mouth make any sense to you? So yeah, so basically there's a build that he's using throughout that video, and so basically that build will be part of the miniseries, because that's how I assemble these. I don't know if you guys have caught that, but there is a channel dedicated to this Netflix style build miniseries. That's what it's called, Netflix style build miniseries. And the reason why is because it's a they're little webisodes. So the storyline in each video is about 2 to probably 4 or 5 minutes at the longest, but for the most part they're about 2 to 3 minutes on average. And so, but there's a recap of what happened last episode, and then a quick introduction, the current episode, and then the build video that happens right after. And so the build video, so basically it's what would this character be running to do what he's out to do. And so each character carries a different build with them. And so but basically what this is setting us up for, I don't know if you caught the ending, but so basically the division can't be trusted. So we don't know, it's been infiltrated. Isaac's been infiltrated. And so we don't know who's good and who's bad. Sort of like Lao, right? Like she was like she was the division, and then all of a sudden she's our enemy. Like, but why, right? And so that's kind of where this is going too. Like, so and so that's why the Rembrandt disappeared, is because she found out that the division was compromised because Isaac was compromised. And what we might learn later is that it might have been compromised from the get-go. And so once she learned that, she realized she didn't know who to trust. So her and even if she could trust her friends, they were all targets. Everybody's lit up. Whoever's got the back door, who's ever entering the back door of Isaac, knows where all the agents are. And so they can be killed at will. Or more importantly, that agent can be used to take out unattended targets, right? To do this person's dirty work, right? Or protected targets, right? So where maybe Isaac won't identify a target that's nearby, right? A threat that's nearby. And maybe the agent dies because of that, perhaps. Who knows? But you don't know who to trust. That's the point. And so where it's going is it's setting us up for season 2. So this Netflix build miniseries, this is the end of season 1. We just had a kind of a big gap. And so we got one more episode, and then season 2 starts. And so the next episode, which is episode 10, actually is the opener. It's the introduction for season 2. So that's what we're going to see next after this one. So anyways, yeah, so a lot of fun. And so the next one, the theme of it will be Band of Misfits. And so I'll just kind of give you a quick heads up on what that's about, is that basically because the division doesn't know who to trust, they start recruiting new agents from outside of the division, right? So remember, a Department of Homeland Security set up the division, and they did it before the catastrophic event, right? So they did it before the catastrophic event. And so these are basically, we're all sleeping agents, right? Sleeper agents or whatever. And then now they woke. Anyways, and so, but now because of that, because nobody can be trusted, we have to bring agents from outside. And so that's why they're misfits. And so they're going to be misfits is what they are, kind of really unique. Kind of like a Suicide Squad kind of concept, where everybody's kind of got their quirks kind of thing. Not bad people, but they're all gonna have their unique characteristics, and they're gonna come together to create a more interesting Division 2 agent, Shade agent. And so, but with this, we can now trust Isaac. So we reset the node. So basically, we wiped Isaac and then reset the network or the node, whatever. And so to get rid of that hidden signal, so that nobody can, or whoever was accessing it, can no longer access it. But the interesting part is like, how did that code get there? When did it get there? Was Isaac developed with that hidden signal in the first place? You know, and if so, then the whole thing, the whole system is corrupt. Anyways, so yeah, having a lot of fun creating this. Hope you guys enjoy it. We got basically kicking off a whole new season here, so be somewhere between 8 and 10 episodes per season. I think was what we're gonna land at. Also, remember, if you, or not remember, but if you didn't know, I did start up my new second channel. And the latest, I didn't get a chance to release the new gamer music video for today, just because there's a lot of editing work and didn't get it done. But the last one, I'm gonna go ahead and drop in the chat feeds. But the last gamer music video is there, so I invite you to go check that out. I'll also take you to my new channel, and basically the new channel that I have is basically the place where it mashes up. It's gonna mash up music and gaming, and that gamer music video is basically one example of what that looks like. So check that out when you get a second. A legendary tank build, Shardul asks, huh? Like just a pure legendary tank build? There's so many different ways to go, actually. I mean, the easiest one is just to do the bulwark. I mean, there's the glitch thing, but that aside, the glitch aside, the bulwark is just really, I don't think there's really anything that beats it, even without the glitch, right? Bulwark is just strong. It does everything you need to do for a tank. I mean, it works for raids. Does a good job of legendaries too. Basically 4 pieces of bulwark. I would run, if you want to just roll all in the tank and like be indestructible, then I would run the chest and the backpack, the bulwark, chest and the backpack. Murakami knees. What else would I run with that? I guess Uzina Getica or Gila. That's to push your armor back up. But you probably want, no, probably Bellstone actually. That'd probably be better. So the Murakami knee pads and the Bellstone, and then that'll give you another 2% armor regen on top of what Bulwark is doing, which is got the repairs. That's based off of how much damage you're taking. The other way to go is Sawyer's knee pads, interestingly enough. And that's because if you're doing legendary, you take a lot of explosives, and that'll keep you from staggering, and it's really annoying to stagger when you're a tank. Because in legendary, they're constantly throwing grenades at you, constantly hitting you with explosive drones. It's just like, it's never ending. and so if you're gonna be a tank in legendary, that's a really nice thing to have. It's a really nice thing to have. Definitely not required though, because that cannot be staggered. Doesn't stop you from taking damage. It just stops you from getting thrown off of your 2 legs. But and then pistol, probably the Liberty pistol, and then your Bulwark shield, of course. Now, if you want to buff your team, then you could do Vanguard. But if you're going to be a true tank, Vanguard might not be very helpful for your team, because you're going to be out there taking shots, and so you're not. If you drop your shield, that might be what kills you. But you can do that. I mean, that's probably the strongest one out there. I mean, you can create builds, a max explosive resistance build too. But Bulwark kind of got that built into it. You know, so for your secondary attributes, you could just put armor regen or explosive resistance, you know. I'd probably put armor regen because you're out of cover and you're gonna be getting shot in the back from time to time. So I'd probably put armor regen on your back to protect your back. And that'd be easy. That's an easy build, you know, easy build, and it does the job. I don't really, you know, for legendary tank builds, I've seen people get kind of creative with them, but I don't know if you really need to, just because the bulwark is so easy and strong, you know. Now there's tons of other tanky type builds though, I gotta say. Like we got like the Wingman series. Those are the ones that get more interesting, right? They're not as tanky. There's not enough personal there's not a lot of extra personal survivability because you're like dedicating that to your team. Basically, you're instead of making yourself invulnerable, you're making yourself tanky, but the purpose of the Wingman builds are to be tanks, but the only reason why you're really a tank is to dish out bonus armor to your allies. And so that's another type of tank build, and it's really fun, and I think it's even more helpful actually, because your team, you know, it adds a lot more survivability to your team. But if you're a really good tanker, then that does add survivability to your team too. So it just depends on how you play. But if you're really good about knowing where to be, where to stand, so that you're taking all the bullets, so that those bullets aren't being directed to your allies, then, you know, just go standard tank if you're good at that. Not everybody's good at that. I play with some people that, well, it's also hard, right? Because, you know, in legendary, they're coming from all sides sometimes, and you can't be in all places. So yeah, True Patriot is really nice. That's basically where I go with my tank builds. I don't personally run true tank builds. I'm not a big fan of them, but I am a huge fan of True Patriot, or what I call Wingman builds. And the purpose again is just to buff the team. So yeah, so you're good there, man. You're good with the Patriot. I'm trying to think about, you know, there's like a max protection from elite versions also. Those are pretty fun. The hybrid tank DPS concepts, those are kind of fun. I've used them. They're not, you know, they're not my favorite to use in strongholds, but for legendary content like the summit, I would use them for the summit, or even the heroic countdown. I would use the protection from elite builds there. But protection from elite builds really shine in heroic content because there's so many goddamn elite enemies. You know what I mean? Ugh. One of the things I'm dealing with right now, guys, is like my fucking stash, man. It is so full. Like I can't do anything. I can't delete anything. You know, all my characters are full. What do we do? And we're about to roll into a new season. And like, what is it? Like 4 weeks? The end of November, isn't it? A tank future initiative build. That's not a bad idea. A tank future initiative. Tank future initiative. Yeah, I don't know if you would need future initiative though. I mean, why not just a tank healer maybe? You know what I mean? Maybe like a tank healer. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to try, but you lose a lot of slots, and it does give you repair skills. And I think, what is it? Skill haste. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Oh, somebody might have been asking. Yeah, that's the Nemesis. It's a sort of a beast, right? It's a disgusting little weapon. I'm making room on my character as we speak because it's nasty. It's how bad it is. I don't know. I just get really sick of deleting the same stuff over and over again, and then having to go farm it when I need to make a new build. Anybody having this problem, or am I alone? Don't make me feel so alone. I'm gonna push over my the pieces that I need for the next build. So for the next live stream, like I mentioned, what we'll be working on are we're gonna do a red build stand-up. And so if you don't know what I mean, is like we're gonna put them up against each other, and we're not gonna do the whole spreadsheet testing range crap. That's BS, and you know it. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. But let me tell you guys, like, once you get enough experience in this game, you learn that the numbers aren't that important at all. It's how it plays out. Because, like, let me tell you, like, when we do this stuff, it's like, oh, well, this build is hitting at 200,000 more per crit. That sounds like a big number. That's great, right? And then you go apples to apples, frame by frame, and you realize, oh my god, the difference between 200, 300, 400,000 damage per round per crit is micro milliseconds faster time to kill. That's what all the fuss is about. That's what all the negativity is about an undetectable amount of time to kill. And it is. It really is, and it's very sad. But not, I mean, it is difficult to see that on your own. You need somebody that's got frame by frame capabilities. So I get that. Let me be that guy for you today. So, and that's what so anyway, so we're gonna, like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna do, hopefully I have all the space to be able to do this, but like Heartbreaker versus Striker versus Glass Cannon, just the standard meta, and then Umbra, and we're gonna do we're gonna put them against each other. What gun should we use? Any ideas? Should we just use a Police M4 standard, or that's kind of my go-to? But they're gonna be all red. And so there's nothing wrong with all red builds. I love all red builds. I don't run them all the time. Because it depends on who I'm playing with. And if I'm running solo, you don't need to. If you're running solo, it's like, yeah, you might as well roll armor. Right? If you're running solo, do you guys agree with that? If you're running solo, you might as well run armor? Or is that not how you guys think about it? Brian Mendoza, what up, man? What's up? Macau Rivas, what up? What up? So yeah, I'm moving some pieces right now. Let me. Yeah. Well, the AKM and the Kingbreaker, I know they're really strong, but they're just not my strong. Just because, you know, I mean, it's like the ever discussion between PC and console players. I'm a console player. I'm on the Xbox, but I mean, I don't mind the AKM and the Kingbreaker for like a minute. And I put them on. I always put them on. I'm like, oh, I feel great. This thing is hitting hard. And then I put back on my Police M4 or the FAMAS if you want. And it's like, oh, now I remember why I run the Police M4 every time, because I actually land more shots and everybody dies faster. I literally watch the enemies die faster with my Police M4 than I do with the Kingbreaker. I mean, I'll clear the whole legendary checkpoint solo way faster with my Police M4. And it's nuts because the damage is so much lower. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, I know that the PC people can kind of maybe skirt that. I don't know. I'm not a PC person, but maybe you guys can bypass that. Maybe you have the ability to bypass that. But I don't. And so that irritates me. It irritates me to watch my Police M4 outshoot the Kingbreaker and the AKM. Where is my sacrifice chest piece? That's what I'm looking for here. An all red sacrifice. Yeah, but they're good guns. I do like them. I mean, I like the AK. What's the one that's got the 100% more ammo? I forget the name of it, but I like that one. On reload, I'll probably just end up using the Police M4, I guess. Maybe the FAMAS. I'll bring a couple options, just because they work for me. We'll keep the gun's got to be pretty steady though, I figure. Five-star killer in the house. The foul para is pretty good. It actually is. It's kind of got a small mag, but it handles nicely, doesn't it? Cool, guys. Hey, this is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna end this stream. It's gonna roll you over to the next stream. Okay, so it's gonna redirect you into the after party. So this one, the after party starts at 3 o'clock. That's in 1 minute. So when I end the stream, you don't have to do anything. Just hang tight, and then I'll kick off the next stream in just a second here. All right. Cool. Let's roll.
Tuxedo out.